Hi, I'm Chelsea and this is my channel, Sound Mind Stitching. I hope you enjoyed that video of our garden. I cannot take any credit for it. My husband is the gardener. I just enjoy the fruits of the harvest. I have been making pickles and cucumber salad because we're picking so many cucumbers. We only have, I think we have 8 cucumber plants and they are taller than me on our trellis. Today I picked probably 10 cucumbers. So I've been making pickles and experimenting with different flavors. I've made curry pickles. I've made this weekend bread and butter pickles. One of my neighbors is giving me glass jars from her, from things that she buys, like pasta sauce and salsa, so that I can make more pickles and give them away without worrying about getting my jars back. So I'm really thankful for my husband. We're waiting on tomatoes and peppers. We have we've picked peppers, but some of them are still have not changed color yet. We have some watermelon that are getting closer. Right now we're enjoying cucumbers and some peppers and bush beans. But this is the best time of year for the garden. Thank you for being here. I am really glad that you decided to spend this time with me. There's so many other Flosstubers who you could be watching, and I'm honored that you are here for now. I am back after 2 weeks. This is, I think, gonna work. It's Sunday afternoon and everyone's home, but it's usually downtime. My husband always takes a nap because he's exhausted, and the toddler's napping, and the other kids are usually watching a movie or something. The lighting is good. I can sit downstairs, so you may hear some sounds of children, but overall, this is a good time. So I'm coming this week probably with a heavy heart, like many of you, over the things that have happened in, at least in America specifically this week. On Tuesday morning, I took my younger kids up to the elementary school where my son and my pre-K daughter are. It was my son's 5th grade award ceremony. So this was his last year at that school. And we watched him get an award. We went home. This was like 10 o'clock. And then that afternoon, I started to see the reports about the shooting in Texas. And as the stories have come out this week, to think of these parents were doing just what I was doing. They were at the school that morning watching their 9, 10, 11-year-olds get awards, and then they didn't come home from school. So that, it really impacted me because unlike maybe other circumstances where there have been shootings like that, it just hit really close to home because I have kids that same age, and it was a little bit easier to imagine a little bit what that would be like, and it was just awful. So that has been weighing on me this week as our kids are now out of school for the summer. Just thinking and praying for those families and that whole community there who have lost so many people this week, and the children who survived, and to think of what they are going to have to face in remembering that awful day. Also, not quite on the same level in some ways, but I've mentioned before that my husband is a pastor. Our church is an evangelical Protestant church. It's a Southern Baptist by denomination, and this last week the Southern Baptist Convention, which is kind of the overarching group, released a report that had been done by a third party, revealing just really horrific instances of abuse, sexual abuse, within churches that are affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention, and not just the abuse itself, which is awful, but the cover-up of abuse. And my husband is a pastor right now. He's functioning as the lead pastor, and we've been in churches where he's not been in that same leadership role, but we have seen awful things covered up by people who are claiming to love God and claiming to try to love the people in their church, and then they don't. Not only do they commit awful acts, even if they're not the ones committing them, they're covering it up and hiding and trying to kind of protect the institution. And my husband and I both have just been grieving that this week. If you don't know, Southern Baptist churches, unlike other denominations, for example, like Presbyterian churches or even a Catholic church, we don't really report to this bigger group. It's more just a way of kind of identifying yourself as this kind of church. So no one has any power. Like, no one could come and say to my husband, like, you can't be the pastor here. Our church is its own thing, and all the Southern Baptist churches are, which a lot of people like. It's not necessarily bad, but it does allow for this kind of stuff to go unreported, unnoticed, because no one is being held accountable. And as all of us have seen in other areas of our world, often when victims speak up, they are not heard. And so, anyway, the shooting in Texas and then that report this last week, just, it's been a heavy week. But as all of us have to, right? We have to kind of keep going. I still have these children who need me. I still have food to cook and laundry to do. And now it's summer and my kids are home. So, anyway, one great piece of news is we got a van. My last video, I didn't mention it because I didn't know if it was going to happen, but we were really still looking for a van. But that morning at church, before I filmed, someone at church mentioned that they were trying to sell their van. So we talked, and now we own their van. We bought it from them, but it was a really great deal, and it's such a nice van. It's a 2014, so it was affordable, but it's so much nicer than our old van, which was a 2006. So I have power doors, I have Bluetooth, I have hands-free calling. It gets great gas mileage. We've gone on a couple just short trips to the beach, and it's got more room in it. All the seatbelts work, all the windows roll down. So that was just a huge blessing. And like I said, school is out, so we've already done a lot of water activities. We've been to the beach this week. We went to a end of the year bouncy house water slide party. We went to a friend's pool. Yesterday we went to a state park and there was a splash pad. So we're doing all the water things. My motto in Georgia in the summer is, if we're outside, water has to be involved. We don't go outside if there's no water because it is just too darn hot. It frequently gets up into the hundreds, and it's just so humid where we are. So that's our plan for the summer, is to spend a lot of time in water. So in the middle of this really heavy week, I got my first happy mail. Since my last video, one of you emailed me and said that you had some patterns and charts that were either duplicates or that you just no longer wanted, and asked if you could just send them to me. And I said, of course, I wouldn't turn that down. I didn't know what to expect. She didn't tell me what it was, but Jennifer sent me a whole huge mailing envelope full of charts and patterns. And I think it came on Tuesday. It might have been Tuesday, or maybe it was Monday. But anyway, it really brightened my day. And I was shocked at what was inside. So I am going to show you the things that I'm going to keep, because she gave me permission to give things away. If I wanted to keep them, great. If not, that was fine. So some of them are just not really my vibe. And I'm hoping to give them away eventually. Today I'm just gonna show you, I don't wanna show them to you yet because I wanna save them for when I give them away, but I'm gonna show you the things that I want to stitch that I'm going to keep, and then I'll probably give these away too, but these are the ones that I kept because I was so excited. So the first thing is a cross stitch calendar for this year. Let's see, make sure the glare is not bad. Oh, good. I think I can just show you the back. So each month has a different picture of a pattern, and then all the charts are in the back. This was printed by Annie's Cross Stitch, which it looks like it's affiliated with just Cross Stitch, the magazine. So anyway, on the back here, you can see all of the different, for each month, there's a different pattern. At the top here is January, and it goes across. So some of these I don't think I would stitch. The cat with the sunflowers is not, it's not my vibe. But this March one, like, that's really cute. I really love that. The April one for Easter, I don't know if I would stitch that exactly, but I really like the idea. There's a patriotic one. This one is interesting. So this is, it doesn't say that, it says the name in the back, but this is just like a little, I don't know, farmer's wife and her little animals in her little house. I think that's pretty cute. It's almost like a sampler without the words. So this one, September, I feel like this looks a little bit dated, like more 90s, and it's not really my vibe, but I thought if I did away with some of the back stitching, I think that kind of gives it that older look. I think I could make this really cute, and I could make it look like Zoe. So I think that's a maybe. Can't find the page. October, this is just like a typography one, so that's kind of cool. That would be pretty quick, I think, for Halloween. And then, okay, I'm not gonna stitch this. I don't even understand. What, what is this? Pilgrim penguins? I guess if you like penguins, I mean, that works, but I'm not gonna stitch that, but it does make me laugh. Yeah, in December, probably not. Anyway, that was the first thing, the calendar. So I'm gonna hold on to that because there's some good ones in there. Another one, this is by Mill Hill, so it comes with beads. This is full, this hasn't even been opened. It's a kit, and it comes with the fabric. So it's Out on a Limb, Orange Bird. I'm assuming maybe there's other ones in this series. I haven't opened it yet. But, well, actually, I'll open it right now. We'll look at it. So this one comes with needles and beads. It looks like yeah, I think this is definitely DMC. Some DMC floss. And, oh yeah, I see here on the back. There's some other ones. There's a bluebird, a yellow bird, and an aqua bird. Can you see that? So this is the orange one. And then it came with some brown, looks like 14 count Ada. Doesn't say what kind of fabric. Oh yeah, actually, wait. Oh, and it, okay, so yeah, so the fabric here is Black Chocolate by Witchelt. 16 count black chocolate. And it shows you how to do the beads with either a full cross stitch or a half cross stitch. So that's cool. I've never done any beads, but this might be a good way to kind of try it out since it's like all the instructions and all the beads are in there. But I'm planning to hold on to that. I'll make a working copy and then I can give away the chart if somebody would like it. So there's that. Another one that Jennifer sent was Christmas Delivery by Cottage Garden Samplings. So full disclosure, I don't love Santa in terms of like decor. We also don't do Santa with our kids, but we're not anti-Santa, we just don't do it. So I'm just not a Santa person, which I know maybe is like sacrilegious in the cross-stitch community. I think the Prairie Schooler Santas are cool, but like I would never stitch them. I don't want to. So usually when I see Santa stuff, I'm not interested, but I don't know. Look at this. There's a Santa. Okay, I see you, Santa. But I like the sleigh a lot, and I like the snowflakes. I love the fabric. It's not huge. Well, I don't know, 185 by 125. It says it's stitched on alchemy linen by Picture This Plus. It just calls for DMC, but I could see myself stitching this. Maybe for a gift, but maybe for my house. I really like it. So I'm taking it back. Santa's not off limits, but most Santas are a no. Here is another one. I've been eyeing this one, but okay, I'll just show you. It's The Moons of 2022 by Kathy Barrick. I don't want the words. No offense. I think this is a beautiful chart. Would not put this in my house. I don't want all these words, but I love the stuff at the bottom, and also I love the stuff at the top. So I'm contemplating just doing the bottom and maybe putting the top above it, like basically taking out this. I think that would be really pretty. I think there's also, let me see, no, you know what, actually, interestingly enough, they have it charted that way. There's actually a, I didn't even look at the chart. In the back, there's, she has it with just those two parts, with all the part in the middle taken out. So I didn't even notice that yet. Also included in the pattern is the Moons of 2023. So if you wanted to like stitch it for next year, you could. And she says on the back that she will keep putting out the moons. This says it was stitched on 40 count paper bark from Fox and Rabbit using one strand of needlepoint silk, 1/2. There are some French knots, but it calls for NPI, but she also lists the DMC conversion. This is big if you do all of it. It's 200 by 323. So I think the bottom part and the top part are super cool. Yeah, that's The Moons of 2022 by Kathy Barrick. So that I was just, again, I don't know that I would have bought it right away because I didn't want to do the whole chart, but when you're given it, man, then you can do it. So, okay, I've got 3 more that I'm going to show you. I'm saving my favorite 2 for last. So here is 2 Pumpkins Bright by Hello from Liz Matthews. So if you didn't know, Kathy Barrick is Liz Matthews' mom. I just learned that a few months ago. Look how cute those pumpkins are. It's a little stitch, but man, I just love those pumpkins. So this one, let me look at the information. It says it. Okay. This is stitched on 40 count. It calls for classic colorworks. Classic colorworks thread. It does have DMC though. And this is only 73 by 95 stitches. So that would be really, really quick. Okay, my last 2 favorites. So this first of the second to last one I'm going to show you. In theory, this isn't the kind of thing I would want to stitch. It's a little bit cutesy, but there's an exception as to why I would stitch this. I'm going to go ahead and pull out. Look at this. It's Silver Creek Samplers wool. Well, the name of the chart is Fred's Unifying Question. It says, will you be my neighbor? It's a Mr. Rogers chart. I grew up on Mr. Rogers. I love him. I've seen all the recent movies about him. I've read his, I think, 2 biographies. I mean, he defined my childhood. So this is a little cheesy, but it's like self-aware. I might keep it or I might make it for my mom because she also loves Mr. Rogers. In fact, a few years ago, she gave me a Mr. Rogers mug for Christmas. It was like a color changing mug, but it couldn't go in the dishwasher. And my wonderfully responsible kids were loading it and loaded it in the dishwasher, and it got ruined. So anyway, that was really sad. But I'm definitely gonna stitch this, and I might put it in my own house. This one is 67 by 113 stitches. It looks like it was kind of designed to be done on linen. It calls for DMC, and some weeks dye work for, I think, like the sheep's, for the sweater, looks like, and maybe the legs. Oh, it actually says it was stitched on 18 count with only one strand of floss, so that's interesting. I love the blue. I think I would probably stitch it the same way. So I'm definitely gonna do this one at some point. The last one, this might have been the first one I saw when I opened it, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I don't think I've talked about this at all, about the series, but it's Cottage Garden Samplings, The Fox. I really want to do this whole series. Number 8 just came out, the eagle, and I loved the bear. They've just gotten better and better, but when I saw this maybe around Christmas, I just loved it. But I've got a ton of other stuff to do, and the fabric is really hard to find right now. So I was like, you know, eventually I'll maybe I'll just like make a list of all the floss that's needed, because it calls for DMC and some overdyed stuff. I thought I'll just slowly collect the overdyed, and then eventually when I can get the fabric, then I'll buy them. But now I have this one, so I can start, and I can't decide if, when I finally do stitch it, if I'll stitch them individually or all in one piece. If you go to the website for A Year in the Woods, it shows you some different options. So of course you could stitch them all individually. Each season, so the 3 for each season are stitched on different colors, or like 3 are all in the same color. So all the winter ones are this bluish, it's Mirage by Picture This Plus. So they give you like a picture where you could do them, you know, horizontally or vertically with 3, or I think it's a Vintage Country Mocha would work for all 12, and you could do them all on one piece. I'm thinking about doing them individually on the different colored fabric. So I would do each of the winter ones individually, but on the same fabric, and then I'd have eventually 12 different ones, and I just think it would look really cool, almost like a gallery. I just think they're so cool looking. So that is maybe a third of what Jennifer sent me. The other stuff, I have one friend who has claimed a couple things, and then I'm gonna give away the rest. So I will show you those going forward. But that was truly happy mail. I've said thank you so many times to Jennifer. I mean, I emailed her, I'm saying thank you now. I don't know how to thank her. It was such a wonderful gift, so generous. So next video will be number 10 for my 10th episode. So I'm definitely planning to give away some of that stuff in 2 weeks. So please tune in if you're interested in seeing. There's some Mill Hill, there's some Primrose Cottage stitches, there's a lot of Christmas type stuff. So definitely come back if you want to get one of those things. I don't have a lot of viewers, so your chances of winning are pretty good. So I have some whips, I have some finishes, I have haul / some things I've kitted up, and then I'm gonna talk about frugal stitching. Cynthia from Stitching in the Light talked about this, I think, on her most recent video, just about saving, like, you watch some of these videos and people are doing these amazing projects, and then you go to look and it's like the linen is $75, or the frame, it will cost $60 to frame it. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't have that kind of budget for cross stitch, so I am really enjoying learning from other floss tubers how to stitch on a budget. Obviously using DMC is pretty budget friendly, but I have been kind of slowly collecting ways to finish my stuff whenever I do finally finish it. So I'm gonna talk about that too, but first I will show you my finishes. I just closed my notebook where I had all my notes written down. Don't know why. And then I'll talk about my plans for the summer in terms of stitching. So, oh, I forgot. These are kind of like haul, but not really. There was one other chart that Jennifer sent me that I went ahead and kitted up because I was so excited. So I've seen Annie at the Proper Stitcher has done this. So this is Counting is Hard by Luminous Fiber Arts. How beautiful is that? I love it. It's so funny. I don't usually love this kind of stuff, but I've had to frog so much from lack of counting that this just speaks to me. And then I was so pleased to see what the fabric was, because I had bought, I think I can't remember if I shared this last time. I've bought 2 different kinds of the new Lugana from Hobby Lobby. This is 25 count Lugana natural. And it looks a lot lighter than the picture. It is a little bit lighter, but not significantly so when in person. So I'm gonna stitch it on that, and I already had, I think, all the DMC that it called for. I had it all twisted up so you could see the colors. There may have been one color that I didn't have exactly the right color for, but I found something close. So there's that. So I haven't started it, I just kitted it up, but I'm excited about that one. Because I already have the stuff to do it, I'll probably start that before the other ones that I showed you. I've been eyeing this chart for a long time. This is just the PDF, but it's Little Dove Designs Stationery Addict. I'm a huge fan of school supplies and office supplies. I just love them, and I just think this is so cool. Okay, I think actually this is the other Lugana that I got from Hobby Lobby, just some white Lugana, and then pretty much kitted it up with the called for floss. Again, it may be a few different colors, but this might be kind of a summer project. Or maybe I'll wait and do it when it's back to school. That'll be fitting. So that is my haul / kitting things up. Okay, now some finishes. So I have an FFO. This is not fully cross stitch, but I showed you a few videos ago the gifts I made for my daughter's teachers. So my son, who is my oldest son, who's 12, is in band, and he has had the most amazing band director this year. This was his first year of band. He's in 6th grade. And this band director, this was his first year teaching. He's like 22, 23 years old, and he was phenomenal. I mean, they did amazing in all their competitions, but my son fell in love with band. The band director was wonderfully communicative about literally everything. I had his phone number so I could text him with questions. He was so responsive. I went on a few trips with the band, and I have so much respect for him, but he's leaving. He got this wonderful like scholarship thing to go to get his master's, which is a wonderful opportunity, but I'm so sad. So I wanted to make him something, and I had gotten this vintage chart at this little store for like $2, and there's a trumpet in there, and the band director, his instrument of choice is a trumpet. So I stitched the trumpet. I'm showing you a picture because I don't have it anymore, but I didn't know what else to do. I did the trumpet in their school colors, and then I put band underneath it, but I was like, it needs something else. I wasn't sure what. So I did the musical notes up top with the initials of their school. And the fabric is leftover 32 count raw silver Belfast linen from Nutcracker Village. I just had like a long strip, so it was the perfect size for a 4-inch, or maybe this is 3-inch or 4-inch frame. And I have more. I could do one more about this size. So I painted just a little wooden hoop white, and then just tied a little piece of rope on it. And we drove it up to the school on the last day and gave it to him. It would make, a little Christmas ornament or something he could hang in his office. So that was fun. It was very quick. I enjoyed that one. Another finish, which was one of my, oh, you know what? I forgot to say. This would have been important. My last video was all about Maynia. The day after the video, I just kind of gave up. I didn't want to do Maynia anymore, so I just stopped. So it was fun while it lasted, but I decided to work on what I wanted. So one of the things that I had started during those first 2 weeks of May was this tulips in a pot. Obviously, I need to iron out the hoop marks. But this is Julia's Stitch Art from Etsy. This is the pattern, or my friend Sarah kitted this up for me for my birthday in March, and I finally finished it. So I still need to fully finish it. I have the frame and the sticky board. I just haven't had a chance. It's been so crazy with the kids out of school. But anyway, I was glad to finish that. Okay, I told myself I was going to slow down and actually talk about the fabric. This is 18 count oatmeal Ada. This is just DMC, the floss. Tulips are my favorite flowers, so Sarah knew that and picked this out for me. So my other finish was kind of finished. It's a stitch along, but I finished 2 parts of it. Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery is doing an Under the Sea stitch along, and part 2 came out at the end of April, and I had it for Maynia but hadn't picked it yet, and then I picked it the very next day after my last video. And once I started working on it, I was like, this is going to take me several days. I'm just going to keep working on it until I finish it. And then that just kind of made me quit Maynia. So it's this pattern's fault. I finished it in about 3 days, and then on May 25th, part 3 came out. So I went ahead and worked on that, and it took me, gosh, I started it Wednesday and I finished it right before I filmed this video. I didn't stitch it all yesterday. It was awful. It was so busy. So this is all 3 parts that have come out so far. This is 32 count linen. Nessie is the name of the color by Picture This Plus. Part 1 was the mermaid with the blue hair and the dolphins. I changed the colors of the mermaid. The pattern calls for either Cosmo or DMC with a few over-dyed or variegated flosses that I'm not using. So part 1 was the mermaid. I've already shown you that, I think. Part 2 was the fish, the diver, and the ray. The diver also, that was not the called for colors. I tried to make her look a little bit like me. Her hair's a little bit too light, but green and pink together, I just love that color combo. So I changed the colors up for her. And then part 3 was this whole bottom corner of the treasure chest and the coral and the sea plants, the sand. And I literally, like I said, just finished that today. So this is really fun. It's just, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's so cute. I think there's more mermaids coming. I know there's a puffer fish, there's an otter, there's been some like sneak peeks, but the next part won't come out until the end of June. And so probably it might be 3 videos before I can show you the next part. Because I don't even think it will have come out in like 4 weeks if I film every 2 weeks. Okay, so adjusting my seat. Okay, so now, oh, I forgot. Another kind of finish. I'm gonna try to use this book to hold this up. So this is Nutcracker Village. I finally finished the first house, finally. This is Russian Peppermint Shop. So, wow. I did mess up a little bit. You wouldn't know if you hadn't seen the pattern, but I did the wrong greens. Like, it was supposed to be the opposite pattern of dark green and light green, whatever. And then I accidentally made this pink part here 1 stitch too short, so there's 2 rows of white instead of 1, but then that made everything else in the right spot. So I had to move these flowers. I moved the ones that were like, I think the first, third, and fifth were all 1 stitch higher. I just moved them down. So I don't think you can tell. I wasn't about to. I had already done so much when I realized that I didn't want to frog it, so I just adjusted. This is 32 count raw silver Belfast linen from Mitchell, maybe. It calls for mostly overdyed, but I'm not using all the overdyed. I'm only using it for the parts where there's big spaces, and even then, like, so the pink is overdyed. You can see the variegation. The green on the door, though, you can't see it at all. Even the brown in the roof is not obvious. So it's fine. I still think it looks cool. I may not use overdyed for some of the other parts where it's not such big chunks, or even where it is, because you can't even see the variegation. So I'm kind of disappointed with that. This next month, I hope to do 2 more houses. This is the whole piece. It's very wrinkly. There's the middle part, and then there'll be 10 houses. So 4 on the top, 1 on either side of the middle, and then 4 on the bottom. So far, there's still, I think, 4 more to come, but all the top ones have come out, and then it's basically going around, like, I guess clockwise. So these 4, and then like down here and down here. This one just came out. It's like a music shop, but I'm gonna try to finish the ones on either side of this one for right now, because it's easier to count and get there and not mess up the counting. So that's Nutcracker Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. And then I have 3 other whips. So the first one is the one I'm making for my son. This is gonna be a Tennessee football. It looks very strange, but it's a lot of brown. So I was trying to like get the width of the football so I could fill in. So I finished the tee, and then I started on the white like threading up here, and then did some of the brown basically to count to get to the right spot. So that's not that exciting, but I'm just gonna show it to you anyway. The other 2 things I worked on in the last few weeks are Parks and Rec by 2 Little Kits. I got all the little trees done, and I redid the back stitching in the middle. The 2 long lines, I had just done like, I can't even explain it. It was not good. I took them out and I redid it. It looks so much better. My goal is to finish this by September to give to my sister for her wedding. She's a huge Parks and Rec fan. So yeah, this is an easy pattern. There's a lot of color changes, but it's pretty easy. I did do for the flowers, let's see, the pattern just calls for cross stitches, but I did French knots. They're not great. I may have to redo some of them, but I thought that was kind of a fun twist. And then I worked on in the garden. I had worked on this some that I showed last time, but I worked on it some more. I'm hoping to finish this in June. So this is what I have so far. I haven't done a whole lot since last time, but I did finish the wheelbarrow, which was kind of a bear. So really not that much left to do. I'm so close to being done. I'm so bad at saying the name of things. I keep forgetting. This is Stitcherovia and McCongdon. And it's 14 count Ada. Dirty is the color, and it's just DMC. So yeah, that's all of my I'm looking at my notes. Those are my whips. Those are my finishes. Frugal stitching. So there are some things you just can't avoid spending money on if you're going to be stitching right. I mean, you have to buy the thread, you have to buy the fabric. But one idea or one thing that I've been doing when I go to Hobby Lobby, because that's kind of where I go. We have a Michael's, but I don't go there much. Recently, I will always check the clearance section or the seasonal stuff. And this isn't even all that I have. I probably have 3 times as much, but these are the general ideas. So for example, this is wall decor. I got it for $1.29, and I think there's some scratches on it, but it's basically just flat. Like it's not textured at all. It does kind of have, I mean, it's all kind of one piece, but I could totally paint this. And if you really wanted, I mean, there is a little bit of an edge. You could put painter's tape or something and paint the frame a different color. It was originally $13. So you could totally put fabric on this or just paint it and then mount something on it. It's maybe like an 8x10 size, so a pretty good size. Same idea. This one's a little bit different. This was originally $20. Some of the felt pieces fell off. I guess this was there because it was Christmassy. This was $1.99. So you can totally pull off the button and the felt, paint over this, put fabric, paint. You could leave, I mean, the frame, this part is in great shape. There's nothing wrong with it, but just cover up this guy, put something on there. That was originally $20. I don't know who would pay that much for that. This I just got like last week. It's just a little like box. It could stand up by itself, I think, or you could hang it. Again, it's kind of got a little bit of a grain on it, but you could paint it, you could cover it in fabric. This was $1.49. I got like 3 of these because they were really cute little size, and I thought for gifts, like this would be a really good size to put something on. So there's one idea. Another kind of adjacent is I recently watched a video by Sarah Humphrey embroidery. If you're not into embroidery, this may not interest you, but I think it is really interesting. She did a whole video about color theory and like choosing colors and designing your own embroidery, which is a lot simpler to design than cross stitch. But one of her ideas for figuring out colors that go together was the paint things at like a hardware store. And my husband and I were on a date last night and went to Lowe's. We're gonna be staining our pergola in a few weeks. So we were picking out stain, and I was like, oh man, like I'm not gonna look at the color cards. And then they had all these like little booklets of color stuff. So like this was Valspar, which is like the Lowe's brand paint, I think. And they had one, and they had like 20 different ones of kind of different hues. So like this is a pink one, but look, it has all these cool colors and saying like, you know, if you were gonna design a room and this was kind of your base color, all these colors would go with it. So I just thought this was so interesting because you could totally use this if you wanted to change the colorways of a pattern, or if you were trying to design your own, you could use this. I got a lot of these. They are free. You just can take them. This was a smaller one. So they also had these bigger pamphlets from Sherwin-Williams, which are the same idea. Again, kind of different colorways, but like this one shows you like if you're gonna decorate the inside of your house, you could use all these colors and they would all kind of go together throughout your house. So I got a lot of these because I think this could be really cool. I have the software to design my own pattern. I have lots of ideas. Designing a pattern is really hard. In my head, I know what I want, but I can't get it out on the screen. So I'm working on it. But I thought these would be so helpful because I don't have any art. I don't have any background in art or design. YouTube can teach you a lot. And I thought this was just such a great tip to even get the paint cards. And then these were just like a bonus. So anyway, and they're free. So that's kind of an easy way to figure out, you know, what you want. I would call that frugal, because then you're not accidentally buying colors that won't go together. You can look at those. So anyway, that is all my stuff for this episode. My plans for June, I have some things I want to get done by the end of the month. So I want to do 2 of the Nutcracker Village houses, the Chinese tea room and Sugar Plum Sweet Shop. So I tracked my stitching this month. I tracked how many stitches I did each day on each project. It was really interesting. I haven't checked in a few days, but the last time I averaged it out, I average about 400 stitches a day. And the Nutcracker Village, the peppermint shop, was about 2,500 stitches. And they're all about the same. So that for me is about 6 days of stitching. So I basically, this is my bullet journal. I wrote out my June stitching plans. So I have Chinese tea room, Sugar Plum Sweet Shop. I want to devote 6 days to each of those. I want to finish in the garden. There's 10, maybe now 9 motifs left. So I would give each one a day. Some won't take a whole day. Some might take more than a day. So that's part of it. Coastal Holiday, the ornament, I started that at the beginning of the month. I'd like to finish one of those. I want to get 2 pages done of Parks and Rec. The pages are not full pages. They're like, I cut the pattern up. So 2 parts. And then the 2 that I'm doing for my boys, the football one and then the monkey. I want to do about 1,000, 1,200 stitches on each of those, just to kind of make some headway. So I don't know if that will all take me all month. I'm kind of going to use that to guide me. Like, what do I feel like? Well, maybe choose one of these things. And if not, then I'll work on something else. I plan to work on Under the Sea when it comes out at the end of the month. I kind of want to start that stationery one. And then I'm going to have like 5 or 6 other things that I have upstairs that I could also work on. And then a lot more that are kitted up, but are more seasonal, like fall or Halloween, Christmas. So I'm not going to start those this summer. But anyway, I don't know how much stitching I'll get done. I feel like the summer is different than the school year. But I don't know, like, I don't know how it's going to be. We have no big plans. We have a few short trips planned. Mostly we plan to just hang out with our friends that have pools and go to the beach some. So, you know, I don't know how much stitching I'll do. I plan to, hopefully in the evening. So anyway, that is all I have. I think this is longer than usual, but I just had to show you that stuff that Jennifer sent me, and wanted to be able to share those kind of tips of ways to keep costs down. So I hope that your Memorial Day weekend is going well. I plan to upload this Monday. Today's Sunday. But again, I'm thinking of those of you who are hurting. Maybe you have a connection to some of the news events that I mentioned at the beginning. This is just a hard time. There's just a lot of really hard stuff. A lot of people are still dealing with, you know, COVID things. That's still not over. And I think we're just beginning to see the impact on ourselves, on our children, on our healthcare workers. Things feel like kind of a mess right now, right? So I'm thankful for stitching and the relief that it gives me to kind of escape and think of something else that's really, really, truly therapeutic. So I hope that you are able to find a way to stay grounded, to take each day one day at a time, to keep choosing to do the things that you have to do even when you don't feel like it. I've been there and I'm still there some days, but I've enjoyed spending this time with you and sharing some of what I'm working on. Again, please tune in next time because I plan to give away some of the stuff that Jennifer sent me, and I'm gonna make working copies of these so I can give them away. But I enjoyed this, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.